Hello and welcome to Alternate Ending, where we are still discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I am this week's host, Brennan Klein. We will be here to discuss the upcoming cinema of July 2026. But first, I would like to introduce you to the two guest panelists on the show today. First of all the way from across the pond, in the French style, Gavin McDowell. How are you doing, Gavin?
I am super hot. It's like been 40 degrees every single day for the past 5 days. I don't know if you two have any experience with heat waves. It's like brain-meltingly hot. I can't stand it anymore.
I'm typing 40 degrees Celsius into Google right now.
If you had a fever of 40 degrees, you would be dead. So
yeah, it's like what, 102 or something?
104.
Yeah, it's north of 100.
Yeah. Okay, no, merde. That is a French word, I know.
Merde indeed, yes.
But yes, and that other voice you just heard, that's Caleb Wimble. How are you doing, Caleb?
I'm good, enjoying the Los Angeles privilege of it being still pretty cool and breezy summer here. We haven't had much over 80, I don't think, while the rest of the world suffers.
Yeah, the rest of the world suffers and watches soccer. So it's, kind of a trade-off. They get the things they like and also the things that we don't want.
I have been watching some of that too, but alas.
It's happening here, so it's kind of hard to ignore the World Cup as a phenomenon. But we're not here to talk about the World Cup. We're here to talk about cinema. But before we talk about the films of July 2026, let's talk about what we've been watching recently in our movie roundtable. Gavin, what movie are you bringing to the table today?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the World Cup, okay, because the film I want to bring is an animated French film called Jim Queen. And I believe that the English title on Letterboxd is for unreleased French films. The English title can change a bit. It's Jim Queen and the Quest for Chloroqueer.
I would change that title, but I'm interested.
What Chloroqueer is, it is the cure for a virus called heterosis, which, according to this indie animated film, is ravaging the gay community of Paris, turning the gays, and specifically the gays, I'll get into that, into heterosexuals gradually. And the virus is shaped like a soccer ball. Yes, one of the running jokes in this book is that gay men do not like sports. And this movie was in development for quite a long time. I believe it was like Kickstarter funded or something like that. It was like, we live in a world where heated rivalry exists, and so I think the cover's blown that gay men are interested in sports, or at least they're presented as such in fiction. So that seems anyway, it's strangely conventional. It's like Jim Queen himself. He is a bodybuilder, so his name is a double entendre, because his entourage are called the Jim Queens, gym like a gymnasium, and he is afflicted with this virus, and he would like to, he's searching for a cure, and his friend Nina, who's like an all-purpose female character, only two female characters in this entire movie, as a friend, a manager, a doctor, suggests this rather skeevy scientist who can devise a cure, but he needs the perfect prostate from an unwitting twink. And so we're introduced to Lucien, who's 23 years old, is still a virgin, and is described by the rest of the community as a twink. And they kind of go on an adventure through the various typologies of gay communities within Paris, kind of degrees and decreasing degrees of social acceptability by the greater community. So you have people like Jim Queen, who is outwardly very masculine, and then you have the bears, who are presented as bears, and it's
like
strange
literal animal bears.
They're anthropomorphic bears.
Okay.
And according to this movie, they're kind of like masculine, but they like drink beer, and they're not as athletic as whatever Jim Queen is. And then, of course, you have the drag queens, and then you have the leather daddies and various other kinks who are kind of presented at the bottom. They form a collective called the Gestapo, and they're kind of antagonistic figures. Yeah, and one of their torture devices is an Iron Maiden that's filled with dildos. So that's the kind of thing we're dealing with here. And at the very bottom there's a character who gets off on smelling stinky sneakers, and I don't know if that's gay at all, except that they find him in the middle of a cruising spot, but I don't know who he's cruising for because he's sitting by himself, hidden in an alcove, smelling his stinky sneakers. So that's it's very episodic.
Where do they place the pups in that hierarchy?
The pups? You mean people who pretend to be dogs, or is that?
Yeah.
Oh, they're probably.
I see them on the poster. Okay.
They're literally sent out to sniff and hunt down. So like, not only do they pretend to be dogs, but they have the olfactory powers of literal dogs. So it's very episodic. It's less invested in being a comedy than I would like. It feels more like a message movie where the message is that the gay people of Paris need to stop factionalizing and need to unite against their common enemy, which is the only other female character, who is Lucien's mother, but also a minister. And by minister, I mean a government minister, not a religious minister, who is a homophobic bigot. So I feel like there's several different potential antagonists stuffed into one character. I laughed. I feel like sometimes I was the only one laughing. And if the heterosexual, like, man, father of two children, is the only person laughing in your very gay movie, I feel like you've done something wrong. And maybe it's not hitting its target audience, although it should hit its target audience because Pride has been canceled due to the heat. Your only refuge from the movies is to watch this or one of the longer movies coming out in June. And it's just like, I appreciate the effort. I feel like the animation is a bit barbaric. It's not a bad movie. I just don't know how it'll be received. So I recall that when I got a chance to watch Strange Way of Life or Strange Way of Living?
The Almodovar short?
Yeah. I got to see it before most people. And then after I read Brennan's review, I was very ashamed of my positive review. And and I lowered it. I lowered it on Letterboxd out of shame before anyone could notice.
No, proudly bear your own opinion. That is fine.
It's I would really like other people's opinions on this movie that they can't see, but I imagine it will appear somehow across the pond.
I'm really curious about this movie. I'm definitely gonna try to seek it out if and when it arrives on our shores. So it sounds like it was, whether or not it's successful, it sounds like it was kind of a for gay people, by gay people kind of thing. Like it's or is it just like straight people are making fun of gay people? No.
It's definitely by and for. The fact that it excludes other members of the alphabet soup, and there's like a line of dialogue to this at this point where Lucien is at like a discotheque or something, and he's talking to the drag queen Glamidia, who's explaining to him that he's a twink. And he goes, "Oh wow, the entire LGBTQ community here." He goes, "No, it's just the gays. There are no lesbians here." And it's like there are no lesbians in the film. There are no trans people. There are no there are no asexuals. I don't know if it's not G, it's not in the film. It's G-rated.
Oh my goodness.
which feels a little myopic. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe there'll be a sequel hook. I don't know. There are only two women in this film. They don't talk to each other, so it doesn't pass the Bechdel test. But they do have names. So
okay, that's one point. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, from what you're saying, it sounds not perfect, but nothing's perfect. I'm definitely.
It's a film that probably couldn't exist like 20 years ago. So it doesn't seem revolutionary now, but it's possible now.
Yeah, and also, okay, so I am seeing that the French name of the character is Jim Parfait. Is parfait French slang for gay?
No, parfait just means perfect.
Okay.
And he's referred to alternately as Jim Queen and Jim Parfait. And that really confused me because one of them is a stage name, and I don't know which one is the stage.
Yeah, they really could either qualify there.
And that confused the hell out of me. But yeah, he's maybe I missed in a line of dialogue because I saw it in French, right? And it's one of the least French movies. Like this could take place in pretty much any city with a large gay population. There's nothing specifically French about it, except that they speak French, and you can see the Eiffel Tower in background shots. That's about it. It's about as French as the Aristocats.
All right. I mean, that is how Americans know that something's set in Paris. It's the only way, according to filmmakers, is to
Well,
have the Eiffel
the
Tower kind
accordion
of swan
playing
by.
aggressively.
Oh, that
Yeah,
that too.
I don't think there are
Um,
accordions in this one. Not
Sorry, and
literal
and
ones.
there is a show that Gavin just learned about because of our document called Heartstopper. It's a queer romance British show, and they
Hmm.
go to Paris for a couple episodes. And basically every establishing shot is of the Eiffel Tower, and I'm like, oh, that's where they are. Um,
We do
That's
have other
but
landmarks.
Heartstopper's good setup for later in this episode, perhaps, because I think we'll have Kit Connor things to say at some point.
I have so many Kit Connor things to say at any time. But yes, in we're still in the roundtable for now, and I'm actually bringing another queer film. Happy Pride, everybody! I saw
Woo!
the Australian queer horror movie Leviticus. It is not blowing up in the way that Obsession and Backrooms are. Turns out not every horror movie in 2026 gets to do that. It's basically it has been billed as not billed. It has been discussed as the kind of queer it follows, and that's kind of exactly what it
That's
is.
very accurate.
Um, it is. So I have spoken about it on the podcast before. I mistakenly referred to it as a conversion camp movie. It is just a flat out conversion movie. There is not a
Hmm.
camp involved, but it is about gay teen boys who are into one another. They get involved in this, well, against their will, mostly, in this kind of experimental conversion therapy thing from this kind of religious faith healer guy that basically sets a demon upon them that whenever they are alone, it chases them down and tries to seduce and kill them. And it takes the form of the person that they are most attracted to, which in this case is one another. And it's one of those big ol' metaphor horror movies that have been going around these days. I uh, did not like it very much.
Aw.
I thought it did so much well. I thought the actors were really good. It's Stacey Clausen and Joe Bird who gets so fucked up and talked to me, and now he's back for more
Hmm.
Australian horror mayhem. I thought they were good. I thought the movie looks quite nice. But I think the fact that it leans so heavily on its metaphor is a huge mistake because I don't think it executes its metaphor very well. I think every single new shade they add to it makes it more and more dysfunctional and makes it service less of the story that it's telling. I know a lot of queer people have seen this movie and completely disagree with me, so take that with a grain of salt. And I will let you speak in a moment, Caleb. Sorry, because I
I'm
know you've seen
unclear.
it.
I'm unclear what the metaphor is. That the person you're attracted to is trying to kill you.
Well, so the metaphor is that you're supposed to be scared of your own attraction. You're
Oh,
supposed to
oh, oh,
be,
oh, oh. Okay, it's much simpler than
repulsed
that.
by
Yeah.
your
Okay.
same-sex
And
attraction, and
specifically,
that's
the curse makes it dangerous to be around the person that you're into because they could be the creature for all you know. So it's a way of
Uh-huh.
getting
Okay.
you apart.
Okay.
yes. And but I think that the movie likes to talk about the metaphor, and a lot of the things they suggest about it, I'm like, ooh, I want to see that movie. It's one of those movies where there's a better movie hidden inside of it on the screen, but it never comes to life, and you're like, why isn't this movie doing the thing it kind of is promising that it's going to do, and it never does? Because I think there's one tweak you have to make in the metaphor, and it actually really really works for me. Um, and they didn't do it in the movie. So basically, I think it needs to be about. I think the entity needs to be the vampire on your doorstep. It needs to be the demon where you need to give your soul over to them before they can claim it. It needs to be entirely about seduction. Like I don't think this works as a conversion metaphor unless it's something that if you successfully so it needs to be that if you successfully resist it, you survive. And that's not the case. Like this thing can kill you whether or not you are successfully seduced by it. It'll just choke you to death. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work. And I think that it still functions as a metaphor for conversion because I think it does work as the idea of parents are so conservative parents are so repulsed by the idea of their kids
Hmm.
being queer in some way that they are willing to subject them to casual, callous violence in ways that they don't fully understand how much they're damaging their child, or maybe they do and they don't care. And I do understand that that is a mostly functional metaphor, but I think that it really ruins the movie. I don't think it's as interesting. I think that there are so many angles on what's going on here that they tease that they never evoke, and it didn't work for me at all. And plus, I didn't really like the relationship between the two main characters, and you really need to like it in order for the movie to work for you.
So you're suggesting that this would have been better if it was a vampire film with homoerotic undertones.
Like
I
vampire films that exist already.
Oh yes.
Well, I'm not. It could still be the It Follows thing, but I think it needs to. It just didn't make sense to me as the exact thing that it was doing as a conversion metaphor. I was like, how is this in any way viewed as a successful way of doing this? It just doesn't make any sense because it's like, yeah, all of these kids are inevitably going to die within like 2 weeks.
Do you think that to some degree, the ultimate scene with Mia Wasikowska, who is Joe Bird's character's mother, in the movie at the funeral for another character, where she reveals, in very, very minor spoilers for anybody who wants to skip ahead 30 seconds if you care about thematic spoilers, but she reveals, if you weren't certain before, that she sort of fully understood the implications of this ritual better than you would have expected of a parent who inflicted this on their child, and sort of describes it as being like the ultimate goal of this thing is that she wants her son to be afraid, and she wants him to be on edge and on guard constantly about this, and that this is something to be feared. She calls it, a healthy fear that keeps you alive, in her mind. And I think that's maybe the closest the movie ever comes to that metaphor aligning with reality and the true reality of what particularly evangelical parents often want their kids to feel. And of course, inevitably, the way that the threat of God's judgment in AIDS is wielded as a cudgel here, because that's an inescapable in any gay movie about something that you get through attraction that is going to kill you. And of course, that's one of the readings of It Follows as well, given that it's sexually transmitted in there quite directly. But I don't know. I think did that particular scene work for you, Brennan? Like that moment hit me hard, and I think was maybe nearest it gets to what it's aiming at in there.
Okay, because I think that scene is the single scene that most ruins the movie.
Really interesting. Okay.
Because again, I understand. I think that scene works in the movie that I'm pitching, which Leviticus is not. I think it makes sense that she wants, like, she's describing this healthy fear, which is just demonstrably not what this thing is. Like, this thing is like, if you go to the bathroom and there's no one else in the bathroom, this thing's gonna strangle you to death. Like,
But
there's no way for you to live a converted life with this thing.
But we learn early on that its power is directly proportional to how much that you give into your desire. That is said, if not clearly, then communicated in the plot. Like, I agree, that's messy. It doesn't play out as well. But they tell them early on, and it's implied by some of the characters who survived, that if you that you're supposed to be able to get away from this thing to some degree by completely leaving behind your desire and not pursuing it in any way, never, just getting that. Now, I think that's undercut by another character we have in the movie. I forget which actor it is who plays the girl at the hospital who basically lives in the emergency room.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's right. The only character we've seen who has survived this entity in any way in her life. She is not converted. She is just like
living in terror.
Yeah, she is a horror movie character that you go to for advice. Someone who's just totally messed up. She is that lady in the cabin in Final Destination Bloodlines. Like, she is. It's just, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm not meeting the movie on its own terms, and that's on me. I think a lot of people with queer experience are really reacting to this really well, and I think that's really cool, and I think that's great, because I think so much of the movie is really good. I just the metaphor, which is like really the primary engine of this movie, just did not function for me at all. And maybe it's because I think people who had darker experiences with their parents or with a community at large are responding to this movie a little better. And I'm not suggesting that anyone who likes this movie had bad experiences. But I was like, my parents were really chill. And so I don't have the angst in me about that side of coming out. It wasn't like super easy bed of roses the whole time for me. But I don't know. I'm just saying that's where I'm coming from with this. And read other queer people's reviews of it. But I'd love to know what everybody thinks about it. But yeah, Caleb, did you like it? So you liked that scene, you liked that metaphor mostly, but like, did you like the movie as a whole?
I did like the movie as a whole, but I also have similar qualms in that I don't think the metaphor wholly works out. It's complicated in messy ways that are interesting and productive at some times and just don't really make sense at other times. I totally agree about that. I think the movie, for me, it's just the difference is that it works more often than it doesn't, and I do actually like the relationship dynamics between the leads, and I think there's a lot of little interesting choices that both kids, because they're teen actors in this one. Adrian Chirella was actually the director, was at the screening I was at along with Joe Bird and talking about the degree, how important it was that they had actual like age cast folks playing the characters in this one for what they wanted. I think a lot of that works, and then there are parts of it that it's like sometimes the metaphor becomes so overly literal that I think it loses me as well. Like I don't really. Did you know what to make of the stoning elements near the beginning? I was like, other than the fact that they're literally reenacting Leviticus and the penalty for man lying with a man, like what element of this is driving them to stone each other?
I think that see, to me, I kind of read that as sorry. We'll have to wrap this up pretty soon so we can actually have a podcast.
Oh, sure.
But I think to me that read. I mean, that's definitely part of it, but that also just kind of read as like, to me, like there's a scene in Bros where, not a movie that I try to cite that often, but Billy Eichner and Luke McFarlane, they kick off a sex scene by kind of like wrestling in a kind of violent way, like while they're on a picnic.
Sure. Yeah, that happens in this one too. But I mean, when they're like, I guess it's the test of masculinity thing expressing that way. But the second stoning scene where they're just standing across the yard from each other with the laundry draping and just like grimly, methodically, very unsexily throwing stones at each other. It was I didn't quite know what it was going for at that point. Because I agree.
I can't. Yeah. Sorry, no, I can't say that I do either, unfortunately. Sorry, but you agreed about something.
Yeah, and I do think there is maybe the most shocking and visceral scene in this film. There's like one like real act of, other than the conversions, there's like a direct act of hate crime in this, of homophobic violence that was shocking and maybe not 100% believable, the character that is responsible for instigating it, but also I think like the scene as it plays out is like pretty effective horror of a thing that we actually don't see much directly in horror movies in that way, despite how many gay characters get murdered in horror movies. Doesn't quite play out in that fashion.
Xavier Dolan getting eaten by Pennywise. It's one of my favorite scenes in any horror movie, to be honest.
Great.
Just how much I hate Xavier Dolan. Oh.
Yeah, I liked it, didn't love it. I think for a debut feature, it made me excited to see more from Adrian Chirella. Most unfortunate thing is the opening shot of that very cartoon-looking CGI snake eating the frog. Which, speaking of like literalized metaphors, but that is some cheap CGI right there.
Yeah, Australian cinema sometimes doesn't have the money. But yeah, one final thing, like, again, I don't necessarily want a sequel to Leviticus because it's like it would have to take place in that same universe with the same flaws. But I do like that the entity, theoretically, we never see this happen. It can take the form of a celebrity crush. I'm like, get Jacob Elordi in for this sequel for one scene to strangle someone. Also, it's just like, I would be less scared of conversion if it could lead to me potentially being menaced by Tom Hardy from the Details magazine cover that he was on. Like it might be kind of fun. Anyway, Caleb, you have a movie you're gonna bring to the round table. I know you've been kind of weighing your decision between two movies. Have you picked one to talk about?
Yeah, I did, and so I'll just give the passing shout out to Hokum as being a visually interesting horror movie that more people should check out. But I'm going to talk about Palestine 36, which is a historical drama directed by Anna Marie Jassir about the 1936 to 39 Arab revolts against British colonial rule in Palestine during the Mandate. This was I believe, only film to be shot in Palestine during the Gaza genocide for that 2-year period. And they had to do some guerrilla filmmaking and production. There were people on the film who were killed in the course of that. It, pretty troubled getting this film made. And of course, it was banned in Jerusalem almost immediately, and the authorities interrogated the projectionists responsible for the initial screening. But it's had an extremely limited release otherwise. Very, very blink and you miss it here in Los Angeles. I don't think it has even had like a real official U.S. distribution. A brief UK one, a very brief France one, as Gavin attested. I
think one screening at my theater, like in the middle of the day. And I blinked, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's going to be one that most people have to check out on streaming when it's available there. Hopefully sooner rather than later. It is so for all that, for all the politically provocative elements of it. I think one of the most interesting thing about these movies is that they are only really provocative in light of what is going on in Israel and Palestine right now. Because it's a very conventional historical epic of this kind, and there's a degree to which, if there were set in any other former British colony, agitating against the British imperial rule, it would be completely uncontroversial and quite conventional in the way that the story is told, the way it is shot, the way it interweaves in actual historical footage, although it's been colorized. And algorithmically up-res to try and like blend it into the modern footage with some degree of success. But it's an interesting choice to do that, I guess. But otherwise, like this unfolds in a very much ensemble cast style, following people across all levels of Palestinian society. We have we have folks from a small farming village who their land is being seized by settlers, and then enforced by the mandate occupation force. They're linked to the city and to Jaffa and to Tel Aviv by one of the folks played by Hayam Abbas from that tribe, who is the driver for a man who's high up in the Muslim party, which, as we learn throughout the course of the film, is like, they're sort of like a centrist party that is supposed to be moving for peace, but is ultimately actually funded by the Zionist movement and is sort of a sock puppet for the Zionist agenda in the country at the time. And then his wife, played by, I should have had it offhand, I think that's Yasmin El Masri, who is a journalist and running paper that's she is much more progressive and is like constantly butting heads with her husband over his accommodationist ways and his sort of kowtowing to the British regime as land is being stolen en masse. And playing all that up against one another, we have the British characters. We have the sympathetic liberal Brit who is here, initially showing up. He's tasked with I think that's Robert Aramayo, who's tasked with wrong one. Robert Aramayo. There's a lot of Game of Thrones alumni in this who I'm probably going to confuse throughout the course of it. But I think is Billy Howell, who is the liberal who is telling people, oh, you need to come register your land so that these seizures stop happening, and trying to find an accommodationist position, and then gradually getting more and more frustrated with the Balfour British government, the constant bait and switch of their promises of peace and of bringing both sides to the table, but ultimately being very much in the bag for the colonial agenda. And then we have, it's Robert Aramayo, who people will recognize, from most recently Elrond in The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, was Eddard Stark in Game of Thrones. He plays the, just out and out evil Christian Zionist British soldier, like absolutely brutal, nasty piece of work, the one that you're supposed to project your hatred on. Jeremy Irons has a pretty substantial role as High Commissioner Arthur Wochop. I really don't know. One of most of these actual historical figures are inspired by a couple of amalgams. And I haven't even listed half the principal characters in this. It's that kind of historical drama, and unfolds as people. Yeah.
Are the British the primary villains? Because I know that, like, in Jewish dramas about the mandatory period, it's we brought up Leviticus, I guess. I'm pretty sure the movie Exodus portrays the British as the villains. Oh, they don't. I think it's interesting they have this common enemy.
It is interesting, and Jewish people in this movie mostly exist on the fringes of the camera and in the settlements, like the settlement that's being built, illegally on the land of this local village, and actually burns their farms down in land clearing, which was pretty common practice. The mostly Arab village sends out like a delegation to go talk to them and try to reach an accommodation, and they get shot by somebody in the watchtower, and that's about the most active role of any of the Jewish characters. Like, there aren't really any Jewish characters in that sense on screen in this. They're sort of the end. They're quickly becoming the enemy, but that's not who is presented as the enemy in the movie. It's the British fault first and foremost.
It's just like even in Exodus, or there was a TV show called The Beauty Queen of Jerusalem, where you have Jewish nationalists blowing up British hotels and British establishments. It's part of the it's Cold War to dry the British out, which eventually ended up as a very hot war of independence. 10 years after this movie ends, if you say 39. So that's
so this all goes leading up to the revolt. Naturally, most of the characters get radicalized. The emotional pivot or dark night of the soul moment of the movie is when Balfour comes on the radio announcement announcing the partition of the country, the total betrayal of the peace movement and of the Arab side of those at the table. Actually, quite a lot of the movie is focused on Christian characters as well. There's much more prominent Arab Christian presence in this, and one of the priests of, I'm not sure which Orthodox, if he's Palestinian Orthodox or one of the other, or Eastern Orthodox, but in any case, he is secretly allowing guns to be stored in the cellar of the church and everything. And it's a good movie. It's handsome. It's well shot, largely on location, and some of them are pretty strikingly beautiful. It's low budget and small scale, but effectively suggests much larger scenes and the little skirmishes we get that are really rarely more than a dozen or a couple of dozen people involved they manage to feel evocative of something larger. And there's a train heist scene where some of the rebels they stop a train and they come on and hijack, and then it's sort of like they're basically framing their shakedown of everybody on the train for money as like requesting donations for the cause, and most of the folks on the train are like hell yeah, and long live the revolt, and pulling out their extra jewelry and things to donate. So it's But yeah, it's otherwise pretty conventional and straightforward version of that kind of movie. Nothing is going to blow your mind in the camera work here. It's not it's certainly not an RRR style action overhaul, entertaining explosion. This is the movie, the kind of movie that if it weren't so politically charged, you would feel totally comfortable taking most people's parents to very 90s. In mode and in presentation and in costume drama style in a lot of ways, and I think that's a nice thing to get. I enjoy those movies, even if they're rarely blow your socks off. But yeah, and it's the choice to focus so exclusively on the British as the foes, although they are working with the Zionist agenda in mind and being. And sort of handing things over that way is an interesting one. And I don't know if that was mostly a decision to allow it to seem more palatable, to broad audiences that it's not getting anyway. I have no idea on the thought process there or what's going on behind it. Or maybe just to try and focus the scale of the movie more, since it's covering 3 years and a vast swath of geopolitical events that have to be represented by the few dozen characters we have here.
The British are reliable villains, I think, in historical dramas.
For sure.
Yeah, they do lend themselves to that. But yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm glad that it's good in and of itself and not just like as a you got to watch this in protest kind of thing. Like there are so many movies that you are politically encouraged to watch for various reasons. Then you're like, oh, that movie's actually not very good. It's not really worth.
You need to watch it to atone for Scream 7, Brennan.
Oh my God. I have to do a lot of things to atone for Scream 7, but mainly because that movie was awful. But anyway, maybe some of the movies of July 2026 will be better. I don't know. We'll find out. I have the schedule in front of me. We're going to start talking about the wide releases at the end, kind of come around and scoop up some limited releases we want to point to. This is a bit of a long roundtable. We got a little long-winded, but I think that's okay because there are like no movies coming out,
Hardly
at least in
any.
the US in July.
Yeah.
It is a sparse, like midsummer month. It's really grim, actually. But first, the very first releases of the month are coming out on July 1st. That's a Wednesday. I guess they want to capitalize on the 4th of July holiday and the buy and a half centennial or whatever we're calling it. But Illumination is bringing out Minions and Monsters. Caleb, are you excited about Minions and Monsters?
I have nothing resembling an emotional reaction to the release of another one of these. I think I've seen most of them on streaming at some point as like casual background thing. They still have, a few good gags here and there. They seem to be just about the most like productized, reliable, what you're getting children's entertainment franchise at this point. I think parents know exactly what to expect and their kids already like them, and there are no real surprises at this point. That's all I have to say about it, I think.
Very fair. Gavin, how about you?
The strange thing about this movie is that we already have it here in France. So like it came out a week early in France, and they pushed back Supergirl and the Death of Robin Hood to July 1st. So I could have seen it by now, but instead I didn't. So,
the way you said that, Gavin, I like to
believe...
imagine there's a movie called Supergirl and the Death of Robin Hood, because that's what it sounded like.
I was thinking that too.
Supergirl and the Death of Robin Hood.
Yeah.
That's the interesting double feature. No, two separate movies. Right, so this is the 7th Despicable Me related film, I believe.
Sure.
Because there are 4 Despicable Me's. This is the 3rd Minions.
I believe it.
Yes, I'm bad at math. Okay, so I'm 7 for 7 and not watching these, except again, when there's like as background fodder, and like the premise of this one confuses me. When does this take place? It takes place like in the 20s.
The Hammer horror.
Yeah, it takes place in the 1920s.
That's kind of weird. Okay, that's considerably before Hammer.
Or sorry,
Yeah,
I mean Universal Monster Pictures era.
It's actually
right?
also before that, which is kind of a mistake because Universal Monsters started in the early 30s.
Aren't they sometimes set earlier though, or am I just this movie incepting me into
But
believing
this,
that?
this movie is set in Hollywood in the 20s, and the Minions are trying to make a monster movie.
So it can't even be German Expressionism. Nothing about this makes sense. I noticed that Cthulhu is now so omnipresent in the culture that he can appear in a kiddie flick. That's the only thing I really registered about it, and I'm glad it's out so I can stop seeing the advertisements.
Yeah, oh my God, it's everywhere.
And that's it's like this. I guess I can slip it in now on July 1st. We are getting a legitimate animated movie that's not about the Minions and is not about gay sex. So there's a romantic drama called In Waves, which takes place in the U.S., but it's a French film featuring like the voices of Lena Kudry, who has appeared in a couple American films, and another guy that's not Lena Kudry. But it's like it takes place in California, I think. It was like a love between two surfers, and one of them gets sick, and then one of them has school in New York, and it's based on like a graphic novel. But it looks quite interesting. It looks more interesting than Minions. So
that's not that hard. It feels is it kind of just like French Nicholas Sparks is what it is.
It's a nice, a movie for adults that is not, we have a good run of animated movie for adults that cover all sorts of art styles and genres, like adults in terms of, deals with real life issues and not the Minions.
Yeah, no, that sounds worth
profound
keeping
indifference.
an eye on.
I'm united with Caleb with my profound indifference to the Minions. I don't even hate them. I just don't care.
Yeah, Look, I am also there at this point. I mean, we are three adults, none of whom were children when the first Despicable Me movie came out.
Although I do like the first movie, to be clear.
I don't think.
It's yeah.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. I like the first movie. I think it's quite charming. I think the second movie is kind of a disaster because it's all about how a family is not complete unless there is an adult woman involved, and I'm just like, okay, so what about gay families and what about single parent families that have single dad? Like I found it really poisonous to watch. And the things have kind of gone downhill from there. I do like that. Oh, I assume we're going to get a lot of references to 30s cinema in this movie, even though it's technically anachronistic. I like that the Minions are even more closely acknowledging the fact that they're largely inspired by the physical comedy of the 20s and 30s. There's a lot of silent comedy influences and early film comedy influences.
You just unlocked it for me why it's set in the 20s and not the 30s.
Oh yeah,
Right.
like it doesn't make sense for the monster thing. Like that's the thing. Like the Minions in 1920s Hollywood doing slapstick. Like yes, that's actually kind of a.
Oh yes.
I don't want to say a good idea, but it makes sense as an idea.
But importantly,
then throwing in like
importantly, they can't be active while Hitler is active. That's like a core feature of Minions lore because they would naturally have to serve Adolf Hitler as a result of their constitution and yeah.
They'd have to choose. But actually, they'd have to choose. I'm certain some of them would follow Stalin instead, or that's they'd factionalize. It'd be a civil war. They made the honest trailer for the original Minions movie. The original, so whenever that came out, made that joke, that precise joke.
2015. Oh yeah, no, they serve Napoleon and then they skip right.
And then
on
they go to a cave. Yeah, they go to a cave. They go to the 60s.
Oh my god. But yeah, I almost like that idea of them being in the 20s in Hollywood, and then they throw in this like really elaborate looking monster mythology that just seems really dumb, and I could not care less about it. Not going to see it, and that's fine. Also on July 3rd, 2 days after this, on July 3rd, we are getting Young Washington. It's Angel Studios' play for the conservative dollars over the 4th of July. It does what it says on the tin. It's a biopic of young George Washington. That's a no thanks from me. Caleb, what about you?
I could smell their stink on it before their logo appeared with just the tone of it right away.
Gavin, I don't imagine this is getting a lot of play in your area.
No, as a French citizen who spent 4 years living in Quebec, I find the entire project distasteful from head to tails. I was especially offended in the trailer where the British are telling the French, "This is our land."
Oh my god!
You need to get.
Oh my goodness!
What is going on?
I was trying to think, do the British or the French have the right to the land in the New World, or is there maybe another party that should be involved? That's that party sided with us, by the way. The French and Indian War. It's about the French and Indians versus the British. So I'm resentful of this film's existence, and I will be doing my patriotic duty to see the second part of the De Gaulle biopic, which those bastards have released it today, because we have something called like the Festival of Cinema, where movie prices are cheap, and they want to profit off of that. But I don't know. I wanted to go on a spiel about how much I like the first part of the De Gaulle biopic and how they're making that into like an event film here in France, but I'm pretty sure no one cares. No one that's listening to this cares, so I don't know when it's coming out or if it will come out ever in the U.S.
I really want to see these based on your rec.
It had shifting titles again. The titles have changed on Letterboxd since I last checked. The French titles are really weird. Like in France, it's called the Bataille de Gaulle. So like the De Gaulle's battle or something like that. It just covers the war years when he was a popular figure and not a divisive one. And the first one was called, in the French title, something like the Iron Age. And I'm not even sure what it refers to. And it was originally called in English Tilting Iron, which I think is a reference to the fact that he's kind of a quixotic figure. It's like Churchill calls him like a Don Quixote type. He's kind of a ridiculous looking man who's certain that he's right about everything, and he rose to power on sheer luck that he was right. He made these judgment calls that turned out to be the right judgment calls. He could have had Free France could have been destroyed in its infancy if he had been wrong. But the second part that's coming out now, like the French title is J'écris ton nom. It's like I'm writing your name, and I don't know who the I and the your is in that title. And the new English titles, the first one is called Resistance, and the second one is called Liberty, which makes more sense, I guess. It's very programmatic. I like the enigmatic French titles. I know that Anna Maria Vartolomé is going to be in this one as kind of a deuteragonist. She appeared in the first one and was underutilized. She is a very pretty actress. She was in that abortion movie from a few years back, The Happening.
Wait, isn't that the Shyamalan
The French
one?
title is The Event.
No.
Wait, was it about abortion?
No, it's about trees
No, it was an abortion.
killing us.
Yes, 2021's Happening.
Happening. Right. So she headlined that. She was also in Mickey 17, where she was misused as the not girlfriend of Mickey 17. The one that he almost kisses but doesn't. And then she has a prominent role in that. So I'll be in theaters just to watch more of her. I thought the first one was really compelling. It filled me with patriotic fervor, which is very strange for an adopted country. During a particularly charged moment in French history. I only wish that, like, if you're doing a proper biopic, if you're doing something like on the Lawrence of Arabia scale, it was like that movie includes Lawrence's downfall as well. And de Gaulle had a pretty steady decline after the war was over. And I was talking with a friend, I was talking with a friend before I saw the first one about whether de Gaulle is a divisive figure. And she goes, oh, no, he's not. And then I saw the Letterboxd reviews. And I said, oh, yeah, he is. People are offended at the idea that you would valorize de Gaulle as some kind of saint. Anyway, someone needs to make a film about the 60s. If
Is there no chance of a third one? Like they have no plans to.
I mean, it would be totally lopsided. I mean, I don't think you could make a third one that would fit. I don't know. I'll see how this one is. I'm afraid I don't know what they're going to do though. It's like the last one ends with Operation Torch, which is when the Americans land in North Africa. And have you seen the film Patton?
No.
Okay, well, it basically the second movie is basically going to be contemporaneous with the events of the film Patton, but de Gaulle doesn't appear in the film Patton because he was basically doing his radio transmissions from England. He was off stage while the Americans and the British were tearing up Western Europe, right, going through France, clearing a path so the French could liberate Paris, which is obviously how this film will end.
No, I do.
And then
I need to know if the trailer for it. Go. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then moving on was spoiler for Patton, but we won the war with Soviet help. It underemphasizes the Soviet contribution, like most American films. So, what about the trailer?
Does it end with a plea for everyone to pre-order tickets for the movie to make it the biggest movie in France and own the libs by its success?
No, but you have the trailer for the second one does show people reacting to the first one and saying how great it was.
Okay.
That's so funny.
I mean, it's like they're. I think they did a great job with the advertising on this. It made it sound like you must watch this movie, whether or not it's true or not. Its reception has been mixed positive in France. I didn't mean to talk about it for so long.
That's the theme of this episode. I will just say really quick, like, you know how Steven Spielberg's Lincoln ends with him being like, "I'm going to a play now. See you later." I hope that this movie ends with him like at an airport and is like, you could really use a name for this place. Next up on the schedule, we're moving to the weekend of July 10th. This is the only weekend where in the U.S. we're getting two kind of blockbustery tent poles. Well, I mean, two major IP movies, I would say, at least. The one that is going to make too much money is the live-action remake of Moana, which came out in 2016. So it is a rough. I think it's actually coming out less than 10 years after the original Moana, which I believe
That
was a holiday season release.
Is this the record?
that's the only. I guess. I mean, that's the only thing noteworthy about it. We can't complain about the alarms anymore because all the complaints are used up. They haven't changed their process. Like, I mean, why change? They're making boatloads of money, making shitty remakes, so they're good films. And the only shocking thing about it is that Frozen didn't get this treatment first. And even if it does, then it won't be the most recent.
Yeah, that is strange. I mean, Moana 2 made more than $1 billion, even though it is just
Wow.
like it is junk IP.
Yeah.
Like it is that Disney Plus
Yeah.
series that they reformatted and kind of crammed a bunch of episodes together into a movie, and they were like, "Oh, we can do anything to this brand and we cannot tarnish it." I think was the idea. Caleb, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Yeah, to near total disinterest. I haven't watched most of the Disney live action remakes. Like the whole project just has no appeal to me. They're already these, gorgeously animated, colorful films. Let's turn them into duller, filmed on the on whatever they call that 360 soundstage, whose name I'm always
God.
forgetting, or in place of CG backgrounds. They're these movies. I'm glad people enjoy them, and they're. I don't know. Am I even glad that we're like introducing kids to classics with these lesser versions of them? Not really. Like, I mean, The Lion King was basically where I checked out and just had no further interest in the project that Disney is doing here. But at least Moana is a story mostly concerning people, which is a less egregious thing to transfer to live action than animated lions, who are then no longer allowed to emote. So maybe I'm less intrinsically offended by the existence of this thing, and I'll let people like things on this.
That's very kind of you. I will say, look, I have seen more of these Disney live action remakes than I care to say. I do like a live action musical. So like, I went and saw Beauty and the Beast. Was it good? No. But I was willing to let it be, and they never are. But this movie, I have no interest in. I think Moana's a half decent musical. I like a couple of the songs quite a bit. But I just don't see there's just fundamentally no reason for this movie to exist, like even more than in the other ones. And The Rock's wig looks bananas. And the actress they got to be Moana, she's not giving me the charisma of Ali'i Cravalho. So I am not on board with this. I just don't see it being interesting, and it doesn't need my help. It's gonna make so much money.
I mean, the competing film is clearly the one that the AE community, the greater AE community, is going to be rushing to, despite our Disney love.
Yes, and that movie is Evil Dead Burn. It's the latest of these kind of standalone Evil Dead movies that are happening, where they just kind of give a new director the keys to an Evil Dead movie and kind of see what happens. This one, I believe, is set at like a family reunion of some kind, some sort of like family home being beset by Kandarian demons.
Which the trailer seems to suggest, if I recall, they sort of invite them in for immortality or something. I saw the trailer like a month ago, so I'm not 100% on that.
Well, someone reads an Necronomicon. I know I saw that in the
like
trailer.
on purpose this time.
Interesting.
Is it always by accident?
I think people usually don't know what it is and what it does. Most of
They see this creepy book and they just start reading it. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I think it is always by accident. And then,
okay.
Army of Darkness in the previous one, they're just kind of continuing with the same kind of thing. Yeah. Sorry, Gavin, were you saying something?
I'm not sure. I was trying to think, like, what is the essence of an Evil Dead movie? Because a long time ago, I've seen all of these except for the remake, which I don't know. I should bring myself to watch. I say I've seen all of them. That means I've seen the original trilogy plus Rise. So I guess that's what I'm saying. And like the essence of Evil Dead, I would say is Ash. Bruce Campbell as Ash, which I missed. in Evil Dead Rises.
And Sam Raimi's filmmaking and his playful camera movements and those
right.
iconic.
Well, I did see the Raimi cam in the trailer. So they're doing that, and they're introducing, a chainsaw at least. I didn't see a shotgun yet. I'm sure there'll be a shotgun.
Yeah, probably.
I'm willing to go back and put my hand on the stove again, see if it burns. Per the title. I wasn't impressed with Evil Dead Rises, but it didn't it was straight down the middle. It was okay.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't think I agree that Bruce Campbell is the core of Evil Dead, to me at least. I think he drives a lot of what I think is the core of Evil Dead, which is, for the latter two movies, that kind of splat-stick sense of humor. And I think overall, because the first one's much more horror than comedy, but I think overall it does have this kind of creative exuberance, is I think something you can say is what is going on with those first three Evil Dead movies. And Evil Dead, yeah?
I've always been confused by the logic of the Kandarian demons. They don't operate by any discernible rules, which is kind of frustrating because it means there's no way to beat them, even though they keep finding ways, I guess.
Chaos entities.
Temporarily. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the Tasmanian devil, kind of. I don't look for them to be defeated or not. That's not really what I go to these movies for necessarily. The story here, I don't really know what it is yet.
Does it matter? There's a bunch of people in the cabin. They get attacked by Kandarian demons.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really know what this movie is even pretending to do different from the other ones. But if it's good at doing that, I will be happy. Also, I think so. One of the supporting characters is played by Hunter Doohan. He's an actor from Wednesday, who I think is really cute, and I don't care about Wednesday, so I'm happy to have a reason to see him in a movie. But yeah, let's move on. Well, we would move on to July 24th, but there are no wide releases coming out in the U.S. on July 24th, which is bananas. It's the middle of summer. What's wrong with everybody? But then let's move on along to July.
Wait, are we skipping the 17th? The elephant in the room?
Sorry, did I skip the 17th?
Is anything interesting coming out on the 17th?
Oh, no, but let's talk about it. I'm so sorry I skipped ahead on my notes. I did skip completely over Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which is...
Oh, what's that?
It is going to be... It's the big thing. You know that thing that you bought IMAX tickets for a year ago, or at least you could?
Exactly.
I'm so sorry to the Christopher Nolanites. I have absolutely no interest in this. I'm not going to see it. I don't know.
This is why nothing else is opening this month.
Why would I give a fuck about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey? Do you know me? Do you know me? I am so happy for the people who are excited about this. I saw an IMAX poster for it, and it had one of those Greek statues that was all white. And I'm like, you motherfuckers, those things were painted at the time. They're only white now because the paint is chipped off. I don't know. I'm not a Nolan person. I like quite a few of his movies. I will see them when they are interesting to me, and this is not interesting to me. I'm so sorry, everybody. Maybe you have better opinions.
It's considerably shorter than Oppenheimer by 7 minutes.
Considerably is a strong word there.
Oh, it's just... I'm pretty sure Caleb... I'm excited for this. I think Caleb is excited for this. He made us reread for most of us, The Odyssey for book club, which was great. The poem is great. The film adaptations are mostly pretty bad. But, again, I'm willing to put my hand on the stove and keep it there for 2 hours and 53 minutes. See if it feels good.
2 hours 53?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a lot of
it is an Odyssey.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
I mean, the poem takes 8 hours to recite, so, this is considerably abridged.
And if nothing else, I am confident that this movie will feel faster than the 1 hour and 56 minutes of The Return from 2 years ago, which was our last Odyssey movie. Just a dour piece of shit, that one. And I'm tentatively excited about this. There's a lot of stylistic choices in the trailers that I'm like, I don't know about this. And I think I don't know if I've talked about it on air, but certainly on the Discord, which people should join if they're not a part of the alternate ending Discord. I've talked about how Nolan is a weird choice for a director for our first major theatrical The Odyssey picture in a very, very, very long time. Because the way I put it there was that as Tolkien describes Saruman in The Lord of the Rings, I think Chris Nolan has a mind of metal, and he is a very very sort of like materialist kind of filmmaker in my mind, and in the way that he shoots things in his scenes. So it'll be interesting seeing him tackle something as mythically epic as the Odyssey with gods and monsters. And I don't know to what extent any of them are going to be real in this. Like, it seems like the Cyclops, at least, is a physical monstrous entity.
Real?
No? Is that unclear?
No, no. I was just saying that we haven't. Athena has not appeared in the trailer, and I'm concerned about
yes,
that.
I fear that she will be like a figment of Odysseus's imagination or some other bullshit modern choice like that.
I mean, Circe is the daughter of a goddess and a god. She's a goddess type. Yeah. We do see Tiresias, so we definitely know that he goes to the underworld.
That's good.
They're not going to make that a dream sequence.
Are you sure? You're positive it's not in the trailer?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to fuck that one up. I mean, the thing about the trailer is like the Odyssey. I know the Odyssey very intimately, and I got really like excited when I could spot the reference.
Yeah,
like you see, there's clips of Argos as a puppy. It's like, oh, it's Argos. It's his dog. Yeah. It's old when it comes out.
We're all gonna cry.
And it's like, so Argos are going to cry when Argos is in the film, and in the return. Caleb, when we had the watch party, Caleb actually missed the Argos scene. It was like he like spaced out for like 2 seconds.
I was looking at the chat for a couple seconds. Was my problem. I did go back and rewatch it. I'm like, it's not all I want out of an Argos reunion scene. Even though Rafe Fiennes is exactly who I want as an older Odysseus returning. Oh, what a waste that one. People.
Anyway, I mean, like. If this movie is bad, it's not the first bad Odyssey. There will be another Odyssey movie. If it's a bad Christopher Nolan movie, there will be another one soon that's good.
I think it'll be entertaining, if nothing else.
I'm willing. And anyway, it's shorter than I said. It's actually 2 hours and 52 minutes. So, as I said, considerably shorter than Oppenheimer.
How restrained.
Yes.
In that he considered making it shorter than Oppenheimer, and he did. It's not I take grave issue with the use of considerably here. Yes, no, that's great. I don't mean to sound so pessimistic about this movie. I just personally, I am extraordinarily apathetic towards it. The Odyssey is not a text. I don't actually know if I've wrote it all the way through, so I'm very sorry to the classicists. My Odyssey is C.S. Lewis's The Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Oh, at least you didn't say, "Oh, brother, where art thou?" I'm pretty annoyed when people say that one. I mean, as I said, it takes 8 hours to recite the poem. This movie is only 2 hours and 52 minutes. So,
positively clipped.
If you want the whole Odyssey experience, Brennan, you have options.
That's okay. I feel perfectly happy with the level of Odyssey that I have hit. Personally, I was very interested in kind of Greek mythology and legend at the time, but the Odyssey is obviously neither of those things. But yeah, I don't know. I'm so sorry, everybody. But just to prove my credentials, I will move on to July 31st and expound upon my apathy for Spider-Man: Brand New Day, which is also coming out this month. It's the latest MCU movie. It has been a hot minute since they've released one. I think the last one was the Fantastic Four, which was like a full year ago.
Gosh,
basically. Yeah. And I have been there. There was a long period, like from Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014 through like maybe 2020. Sorry, I'm scrolling. I think I saw basically every Marvel movie up until 2025, where I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't have to bother doing this to myself. Never saw Fantastic Four. Never saw Captain America: Brave New World. Am I going to see Spider-Man: Brand New Day? Probably not. It's a follow-up to No Way Home. It's Spider-Man, but everybody has forgotten him, and I don't care about how he resolves that. I know it's supposed to be very sad for him, but I'm just like, I'd like to forget him too. Let's move on.
Well, they had to do it to untangle the mess they made, turning him into Iron Man again, which is not who Spider-Man is and not what anybody wants out of our friendly neighborhood character, I think, ultimately. So they had to find a cosmic way to undo all of that. It's also a really annoying way to undo all of that. Like, who wants to see him going back to woo Mary Jane again from the beginning. Like this is all. It's funny because this is reminiscent of like the most hated arc in the history of comic books ever, with the total magic based reset they did of Peter Parker's life in the Audies. I think it was like blanking on the name for it at the moment, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty indifferent to this. I probably will see it. My partner still has more affection for Marvel movies than I do, and it has been long enough that I'm willing to say, okay, we'll give another one of these a try. I think it'll probably be okay. I will confess, I did enjoy No Way Home, or whatever the last one was, even though it was just a complete like fan wank of let's bring in all the old characters you love again here and everything. Let's borrow the affection you have for the Raimi Spider-Man movies and also for Andrew Garfield, even though his movies are bad. And that kind of worked on me to some extent. I had a good time. Yeah, I'll see this a couple weeks into its run when it's not impossible to get tickets, I bet.
How about you, Gavin?
Yeah, I have basically stopped watching Marvel movies since Endgame. Since then, I accidentally saw Far From Home on TV. And No Way Home I just completely skipped. And the last Marvel movie I saw in theaters was Guardians 3. And I feel like I saw another one from at post Endgame, but I cannot remember what it was. And I didn't know this film existed until a couple days ago. And
wow.
The thing that confused me...
What a world you get to live in.
Yeah, just like... Well, at least Zendaya appears in the trailer, so I know she's actually in this one. What are the stakes? Like, who's the villain? I saw the Punisher appear, but he's not the villain. And who wants to see the Punisher in a PG-13 movie? I think it's the Punisher, right? I didn't...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And... I don't know, I saw the trailer, I was like, what the hell is this? It was like watching an art film about a badly put together art film where you don't know what's going on or who's what. So I knew that Spider-Man, no one knows who he is anymore. Then they just do the same dynamics of the same characters. And the trailer I saw had a terrible, ended with a terrible joke where Zendaya calls Peter, what's his face?
Peter Parker?
No,
friendly neighborhood something.
She
says like,
yeah, she says,
"Oh,
you're a friendly neighbor." I was like, "Oh, fuck me!"
And then they play the little like little sound snippet.
That's
there.
horrible. That's horrible.
Apparently, Scorpion is the villain. Michael Mando playing him potentially.
Yeah, I think I saw.
You know him from Better Call Saul,
in the trailer,
Far Cry, Orphan Black.
Oh. No, I thought you were talking about the villain itself. Like
no, Michael Mando.
I know Scorpion from the cartoon in the 90s.
Yeah, he's a very low-key villain, like signaling that they're trying to pull back from Spidey being Iron Man, facing Avengers-level, threats and everything, and that big, like, galactic involvement.
There are too many Spider-Men. Like, I'm so sick of Spider-Man movies. I just want to watch the third Spider-Verse film, and then go on hiatus for the rest of my life.
It's like at least they're not rebooting it again and having Uncle Ben die and having him get his powers and all that stuff. But it does feel like they kind of have done a soft reboot on this continuity, because he does have to just kind of redo everything, rebuild his life, and it's just he seems to be fighting some samurai on the poster. People are very they're very excited to foreground that. And I'm just like, okay.
Why don't they get weird with it? Do like 90s Spider-Man, the Clone Saga, and Ben Reilly and all that stuff. Like get strange. Like get into him mutating into a human spider things. Like all the like horror ways that it went. There's room to play with it.
It seems like they're trying to do some. I think they're trying to give him the Tobey Maguire, like, your web powers are coming from you and not from a machine. Like, it sounds like that's something they're trying to, like, mutate upon him or something. Like you said, Gavin, the trailer is kind of confusing. And, like, what is happening here and why do I care? Because they're like, every spider has 3 stages in their life. They're vulnerable, but then they come out stronger. And my husband is an an amateur arachnologist, but he knows a lot about spiders, and he's like, that doesn't make any sense. That's nothing. That's not a thing that happens.
And yet,
Spiders don't
and
like.
yet you still have to watch this movie.
No, no, no.
It's not enough to deter him.
No, no, no. He is kind of. We got out of Superman 2025, and he was like, I think I'm done. I don't want to see another superhero movie, and I am fine with that for the most part. There's a couple that I might see on my own, and he might see a couple, but Spider-Man is not something he's interested in anymore.
Oh, good. Good.
Really, Superman really threw him off the horse, and that is okay. Anyway, sorry. Anything else about Spider-Man before we clean up with some limited releases and get out of here?
No, nothing.
Great. So yeah, there's a smattering of limited releases. It's still a summer movie season, so there's not a whole lot to look at here. But there's a couple that I think might be intriguing. Gavin, is there one? I mean, I put down limited releases in the US, but you can, if you have any French ones, you can share. But
No.
is there a title that's standing out?
Not really. I mentioned the two French films I most want to see this month already. I think of the ones that caught my. I mean, I do like Nicholas Winding Refn, and Her Private Hell. The trailer made no sense to me, but it looks like his other films, so his films don't make a lot of sense to me. I'm an Only God Forgives apologist, so I like that one, whereas most other people hated it. And for some reason, I didn't see the Neon Demon. I don't know why I missed out on his. I missed out on so many of his other films, and I never went back to watch Pusher and stuff like that. But this one got boot at Cannes.
Oh, interesting.
That's actually probably a good
Yeah,
sign, right?
If it was divisive at Cannes, that's usually a good thing.
Yeah.
Or it's an interesting thing. I know I'll have an extreme reaction to it. So that caught my eye, and for some reason, Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass made me laugh. Maybe it shouldn't have. The idea of having a celebrity sex pass is intriguing. And I've spent too much time thinking about it since I saw the trailer.
Yeah, for those in not in the know, that's a new David Wayne movie. He's the guy who made Wet Hot American Summer. It's based on. I mean, there's a Friends episode about this idea. It's based on the idea that like in a relationship you have a free pass. Like if a specific celebrity have a crush on wants to have sex with you, you can do it, and nobody's allowed to get mad.
What are the chances?
Yeah. So this woman, her partner sleeps with his celebrity, and she's like, okay, well, I gotta sleep with John Hamm to even the score, and she goes on a mission to make that happen. It looks less funny than that premise, the trailer wise to me, but I'll check it out. I like David Wayne. Anyway, Caleb, how about you? Do you have any limiteds?
Well, the two I'm most excited about are Her Private Hell, the one that you already mentioned, Gavin.
Right. I don't think I actually named the title. Yes, it's called Her Private Hell.
Oh yeah, the Nicholas Winding Refn
it doesn't
movie.
matter. It doesn't actually matter what it's called. It's a Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah, the trailer just looks very fun to me. I'm hot and cold on him, depending on the direction he's taking me. But I'm definitely going to see this one. I'm excited that it was booed at Cannes. And
yeah, that's great. Because didn't they clap for The Whale for like 17 minutes? Like we can't trust the Cannes audience.
Did they? Wow, that's damning. And then I assume that you're going to talk about it as well, Brennan. But I Want Your Sex, the new Greg Araki movie, that looks very fun. I'm completely sold. I'm excited about that one. That's the one with the earlier Kit Connor mentioned from Heartstopper.
Oh, is he in that?
Isn't he the star of it? Did I mix it up?
No, Cooper Hoffman.
Oh,
is the star.
my bad. He looks like him. Oh, wow. I was just doing a face blindness thing on. Okay. So it's okay. Philip Seymour Hoffman's kid. All right.
Am I foolish for thinking this looks like a gender swapped? What was it called? Baby Girl or something like that? The one with Nicole Kidman.
That is called Baby Girl. I mean,
is it swapped?
I think it's more of a.
I guess it's not. It's like who's doing the seducing.
Yeah, more of a role swapped. It's a guy who becomes a sexual muse for his boss in some way. I don't really understand the plot as presented in the trailer. I assume it makes more sense in the movie as a whole. But yeah, no, Caleb, you're totally right. This is the movie that I was going to point to. I'm curious about, what is a Greg Araki movie like in 2026? I'm not totally sold on the trailer, but like I said, I don't think I understood the trailer. But I very much welcome Greg Araki. I please welcome strange feelings in me about Cooper Hoffman. I'm ready for it. Let's go.
And we got Daveed Diggs. I mean, Olivia Wilde, Johnny Knoxville, of all people in this. I'm going to have a good time.
He's having quite a month.
And Charlie XCX, who is in all movies.
Contractually.
Okay. Yeah. I think I learned who she was last time we talked.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
She's some kind of songstress, right?
Yes, some kind of songstress.
Some kind.
Right. I feel like we should draw attention to Enola Holmes 3 to laugh at it. I didn't know there was an Enola Holmes 2. I don't know. I didn't know there was an Enola Holmes 2. Was there a 2? Is this like Things Killing 3? Where it's part okay. Maybe that was part of the joke. Okay, well, I don't know who that film
there's
is
no
for.
joke about Enola Holmes.
Yeah, okay.
Nor the other Netflix movie.
I don't know if I should feel bad for Millie Bobby Brown, but I kind of do. I don't know. She seems like a talentless hack.
She showed a lot of potential in season 1 of Stranger Things, and then is kind of just has made a lot of Netflix slop and not much else.
Okay.
And is pretty actively terrible in the last season of one of the worst last seasons of anything in public reckoning, I think, as for the sheer size of its spectacular fall. But
no, well.
Anyway, I think that'll do it. Although I think,
Motor City looks good. That's all I got to say. But yeah, I'm interested to
actually it did. Yeah, the trailer for that looked rad. That looked like it could have been Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah, Jack Reacher time travels to the '70s Detroit. Sure.
Yeah, you know, why the hell not? That is the thing. Like
is that on streaming or is that a limited release? I should have paid more attention.
A limited release. Yeah, because I tried to note the streamer if it was.
It's
on there.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's just a limited.
It was a
release.
2025 movie. Wow. But yeah, July release in the US.
Great. I mean, probably premiered at some festival or other. I hate that festival premieres count towards like this is the year of the movie because like no, the civilians still can't see it.
Shailene Woodley, wow, where's she been?
She has a newsletter and she's been selling sweatshirts. That's what she's been up to.
Good for her.
Oh, that poor girl. She deserved better.
But anyway, speaking of being online out in the world, do you have places you want to point people to where they can find you online, find your work, anything you want to point them to? Let's start with you, Caleb.
Folks can find, for the first time, my writing on Alternate Ending. I wrote about Disclosure Day in a piece about examining the movie and its relationship to faith and Steven Spielberg and sort of a little retrospective of his career. You can find other things I do by following me at Caleb Wimble on Blue Sky or Letterboxd. And you can follow the games I make at sojournrpg.com.
Great. What about you, Gavin?
Right. Well, I still have my monthly column at Alternate Ending. I just published recently on the Prophecy series, and that will be the remaining columns this year will all be films that are considered good. There's like all-time
nice.
we have some all-timers in there. We have some cult horror films like Cult in Better Ways than The Prophecy or The Exorcist 2. And that's quite an unusual run of good films. Like next month, will be a Louis Buñuel film, so you can imagine what that would be like. And I have my Letterboxd profile where I always write an entry for whatever film I see, whether it's a sarcastic one-liner or it's pages and pages of notes. And I probably have an academia.edu profile out there, but I never update it. And that's it.
Great. And yeah, you can find me online, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, whatever, Letterboxd, at It's Raining Brens. You can find more episodes of this show and others, including, or on alternateending.com, including the horror spin-off show that I do with Tim called Bride of Alternate Ending. We're starting a new phase next month. We're going to be doing 3 months of, guess what, 1980s slashers. We've never talked about them before. I'm really curious to hear what Tim thinks about them. No, we're doing this in lieu of a proper Summer of Blood on the site because Tim does not have the bandwidth to do one this year. And I was like, we can't just leave this on the ground flopping like a fish. But yeah, the first movie that we will be covering, people voted. We're going to be talking about Pieces, which is, oh, a beautiful, beautiful, weird Boston set Spanish kind of giallo movie. It's bananas. I'm really excited. And yeah, that's going to do it. Join the Discord, join the Patreon. You could have had a chance to vote for something other than Pieces or for Pieces. That's the most recent thing we did in Patreon. We also do trivia. We do lots of stuff. And until next time, when you will be hearing, oh God, what's next? I think it's a Your Movie Rocks. Bye. Sorry, my brain is melting.